we are not operating in isolation. We are talking about a culture. So when we are talking about directors, the director itself is operating in a culture. So if the culture itself is difficult, now here's the challenge for the director. He is operating in an environment where there could be non-compliances. So he is now in a company and he has to take the company forward, managing and maneuvering through a lot of non-compliance issues which is beyond his control. That's the first challenge. The second one is the company itself, which we'll be discussing. In the company today, there are many committees. And very importantly, if I was the head of business, it will be my job to make sure my business is sold, and if something goes wrong, I stick it on to the head of compliance or to the head of risk or the head of the audit committee. He didn't catch it. Now this did not happen 15-20 years back. But with automation and specialization, the business guy has happily managed to transform everything into the risk, etc., etc., etc. So the second thing which my point is that if the culture is to be found out inside the committee, the best thing and the easiest thing is to do is to look at the KRAs of the various members who report to the CEO.
It's being a director, like he said, is also, it's an interplay amongst your other fellow directors, right? And we're starting from the premise that we're all intelligent, honest and transparent and open with each other, even if the company may not be with the board. Because the dynamics between a board and management is different than between board members. So, personally for me, I think if I was a new board member and in a company which I'm a board member and I'm new to that company, it takes a little bit of time to build that rapport, that chemistry. They automatically, we as human beings find it's easy to talk to some other board members. Some others, you're not so sure. You just don't have a good sense for it, either, because of age or their background or experience, or your own age or background or experience. So I think in the first 1 or 2 meetings, I would certainly ask, try to find a friend on the board, find some common interest and say, well, okay, if they're interested in finance, I'm interested in finance too. Or if they're interested in manufacturing and I don't know much on manufacturing, to understand and to learn more and to say, look, I'm trying to learn here and I want to know if there's anything I've missed or is there anything I have not understood. Maybe make it a personal feeling of mine. Then, the same questions asked differently as, I'm not sure if I have understood everything. I mean, is there anything I have missed out? Is there anything else I should be knowing? Make it more a personal feeling than to say, well, is there anything else you are not telling me? I mean, that makes it so much more, perhaps, confrontational and puts the other person on the defensive to say, what do you mean? I mean, why do you think I would know more than you? We're all on the same board, we come to the same meeting, and we have the same agenda. It's not as if I came 5 days ago, and maybe I've been on the board 15 years ago, and you'd be surprised, maybe you're asking a question, and they didn't want to ask because they may seem odd that they've been on the board for so many years and they can't ask. So I would preface it more as, is there anything I'm missing and I'm not understanding?
Yeah.
Maybe the first one or 2 meetings, and then after that everyone gets the sense of, well, she's going to ask the same question, it'll take her 2 meetings. By then others figure out, it's better for me also to ask. I mean, even I don't know finance, I can ask the same thing on accounting standards, right? I mean, even chartered accountants don't know what those accounting standards are, like Mr. Sundaresh said, it's changing every month. I mean, you have no idea. So it's better to ask and say, what is this accounting standard? Or GST? I mean, GST is changing every minute, those returns and requirements, so it's always better to ask.
Thank you. Arun, you've been a CMD yourself. There is a belief that a dominating chair controls the proceedings, and more often than not, the directors are hesitant to speak. And this gets aggravated if the chairman is an executive chairman, who, besides running the board, is also running the business. From the time you were a CMD public sector, and now you are seeing chairs of different companies on which you are. What is it that you are observing? Without naming any company, what are you seeing?
Let me first tell you what I used to do. See, I was a CMMD of Hindustan Petroleum, it's a large public sector company, and people are very experienced. I mean, they're large, each of them large. All the SB heads, each of the SB will be worth about 15,000-20,000 crores turnover. Large. So the directors, what we used to do before a board meeting, about a week before the board meeting, we put all the agendas together, and we have what is called the Committee of Functional Directors, wherein every agenda item is fully discussed, and any issue which is there is sorted out there. If you feel not confident about any agenda item coming to the board, we don't take it. We will take up an agenda item onto the board only if there's a consensus amongst the functional directors. Because that will make sure that A, we are doing the right thing and whatever putting up into the board, and then as CEO, I am carrying the team with me to the board. Now the board consists of nominee directors of the government, there will be independent directors, and in the public sector most of them are ex-IAS officers as well or foreign service officers as well. So sometimes they all tend to come together, and sometimes we use them also for our own particular interest of getting things moved as well. Okay. So in the board, I may appear to be a little more, what shall I say, pushy as far as with my own directors. My own directors won't open their mouth because we have settled it there before. And they had all agreed, not forcibly but very consensually and democratically agreed. So in the board, only the person, the director who's presenting his case is actually talking. And the chairman doesn't, CEO does not present the case, only the director presents the case. And the discussion is open among the directors, among the independent directors and the nominee directors. And they ask the rest of the other directors, also, look, what are your opinions? They'll say their opinion. They'll say, look, we have discussed it earlier in our CFT meeting and it is fine. Okay, that's what we used to do. Now, there are other companies, with one of which I can say, I can name them. I can let me name them so that it's easy to talk about. It's a company called JP Infratech. JP Power, JP Infratech, I was on the board of those companies. Primarily because when I was, even before I became a chairman of Hindustan Petroleum, there was some business we were doing with these people, and I thought they were good people, very useful to know kind of thing, and we became friends. And 2 years after I retired from my earlier job, I got a letter from call from those people inviting me to join the company. So I was very happy, that this old man who was a legend really invited me to join the board of the company. The first board itself, I was quite impressed with the board because who were the other independent directors with me? There were 6 of us there. One was a former election commissioner, one was a former chairman of the, not NCL, the earlier thing, what was it? Company Law Board, chairman of the Company Law Board. Then somebody was a chief secretary or something, and one foreign service officer was a ambassador somewhere. And what board do you want in the board? Really? That's my God, what great company am I keeping? But when the board meeting started, my heart started beating a little for a simple reason. The full board meeting lasted something like 1 hour max, out of which half an hour was meant for eating. All that eating.
I thought reading, so I got wrong.
Okay, so then in a first board meeting, you don't open them all through much, just watch and listen what is the culture of the company kind of thing. So then suddenly they say, oh, quarterly report. And the audit committee chairman of the audit committee came and everything is fine, the committee has gone through it. So we scratch our head, and then I asked again, and what any observations or qualifications by the auditor. I mean, I've seen it. So I just kept quiet, because the feeling was that who is this guy asking here? And the chairman of the audit company says everything is fine. It has to be taken as everything is fine. Like the question she asked, and I was asked, what more should I know, kind of thing. Okay, this was the first meeting. Okay. Then informally, I sat with some of the other directors and said, look, it's such a galaxy of top guys who have seen the world. Why are we all sitting right? Is this company really using us properly as directors? Are they even doing anything about the knowledge that we have had? We have and we can contribute nothing, zero. They don't want anything from us. They gave us a sitting fee, and that is it. Of course, we have to look at it and when it's a different matter. But slowly we started questioning. Okay. Now, they went through a lot of problems, genuine, caused by NGT in Delhi area because the construction gate problem. a whole lot of other problems that are government inflicted with sudden change of laws and all were there. Okay. So we started on those kind of things, asking them to explain what did you do about it, couldn't you canvas, couldn't you do good officers, all those kind of things. And slowly the flavor of the boats changed. Okay. But it was not an easy task. And finally stage came when I was earlier giving that example, when they wanted to build a hospital for 6,000 crores. And you told them, like, where is the return from a hospital? Take 10 years for any return to come from a hospital. They started building a multi-story head office, which again would cost about 8,000 crores. So we asked them, where is the return coming from all this, and you're not making any money from your main business, because the main business was that Noida Agra road. So when we found that nothing was happening, I was there for 4 years almost. By the end of the third year, I decided probably it's not my right thing, because whenever we talk to them, they very politely tell you, thank you very much for telling us, yes, this is this thing, we'll show you a study kind of thing, but that was. So end result is what you do a suggestion. And I'm glad I left when I left.
I just want to ask you one very important question. I know there can be a lot of answers to it. I'm going to put you a philosophical question. Does disproportionate remuneration drown the voice of conscience?
Yes. I answered like a Robert. Yes.
Then what is the right remuneration? Because there are a number of people here who want to know what is the right remuneration. When you don't hesitate to quit like Arun did.
See, there is no right or wrong remuneration. Let me be very honest on that. You get paid for what you contribute. Okay, the contribution is what comes into play. Now, what is the contribution? Now, a celebrity board like his, okay, the contribution may be getting contracts. So, if you see, I have seen boards, different remuneration, which is a board member who gets a contract gets paid much more than a person who does not contribute to that front, which is business, getting businesses. So, you can't question. Today, it's all free pricing, right? I mean, when you talk about a remuneration, it's all free pricing. So don't think that if X gets, say, about 25 lakhs, you should also get 25. No, sky is the limit. I have known people getting 1.3 crores, one independent director, as against a piddly sum of around 25 lakhs of another director. So there is nothing like X gets this much, Y also gets this much. So that's where the disproportionate thing sets in. Now, why does the disproportionate remuneration set in us? Very clear. There may be a lot of chemistry inside the boardroom, in the sense, the contributions. And the more you contribute, the more you get. The more you participate, the more you get. So, the buck doesn't stop. In fact, I can't name the company, large listed IT company in Bangalore, in fact, pays you remuneration based on your contribution. And that contribution, an assessment is done by the 3 C's, which is the CEO, CFO and the CS. Starting from your attendance to how much you have contributed to the business, there is a measuring which is done. And then out of the common pool of say around 1 crore or 2 crores of commission available, nobody gets the equal sum. It all is a pro rata distribution. So, disproportionate, positively looked at is that. On a negative side is, again, Nirav Modi case, the independent directors got something close to 2 crores. 2 crores. Don't ask me what is the contribution. He had money, he paid. But again, it's...
Yeah, go ahead.
I just had one question. Isn't there a fundamental conflict of interest if you're an independent director? How can you bring business and make money on the commission? It's the problem. It's the point which one of the members in the audience said. I mean, this is an issue where the culture got from the top. I mean, you don't have to look to the company. How can you be an independent director in a company and get compensated and be evaluated for bringing business? I don't think you can be independent. And I think I always struggle with, and I know, Pras, I mean, you're a lawyer and maybe you should answer this question. I think I've always had this issue where I think in India particularly, we do not understand conflict of interest. And I read a very good, I think it was a Supreme Court justice who said, in India there is no conflict of interest. We have conflicts and interest. There's no conflict of interest. I mean, that's the most succinct explanation I've received. I mean, to me, this independent director, it's an oxymoron. If I have to get paid for bringing business to the company I'm which an independent director of. And all your other questions, you could have just skipped all of them. Just had one question of this, and that would have been presented.
Okay, let's look at it very practically, okay? Which is conflict in the interest or interest in the conflict, which is what was happening in ICC, right? So both are completely different aspects. Now to come on the independent director front, now this celebrity board which he was talking about, why do I need them? Please understand, I'm arguing from an entrepreneur side. So if I have to pick him, who is only going to ask me questions, why him? Because questions can be asked by anybody in the management, right? I don't need a celebrity like him sitting in my board and only asking me questions. Understand? Every entrepreneur puts business ahead of him as far as his conduct is concerned. So when he is choosing an independent director also, 60% of the rating goes for what does this person bring to the table. Not under the table, over the table. Means what is the contribution that this person is going to make is 60%. Take it from me. I have seen recruitments, okay. So it is not because you are good in asking questions or you are the best of chartered accountant who can be the chairman of the audit committee is why I am recruiting you. That may be one aspect of the whole recruitment process. But the hidden agenda is always there, which is if I get X on my board, what is the thing that I get back? I mean, that's also another part of the or behind the dark.
A moderator is supposed to actually put questions and not question the panel, but I'm going to question. My own understanding is that if you look at the group of independent directors on the board, these independent directors are the guardians of the minority shareholders or retail shareholders or shareholders who are not represented on the board at the end of the day. To me, the independent directors are supposed to do their job, and if there is a differential treatment among the independent directors, that independent director A gets X amount, independent director B gets X minus Y amount, I would be very, very uncomfortable in any case, because at the end of the day, the entire distribution of commission is approved by the shareholders. And the shareholders, when they see that one independent director is getting X, the other is getting 2X or 3X, the shareholders will definitely ask as to what is the the criteria on which this differentiation is being made. So if I am an independent director, I certainly would not like to have this differential treatment, because I am doing my job, so is the other independent director who is doing the job. That is where I would like to say. Yes, ma'am, you wanted to.
I was just saying that we circle back to the earlier question on how do you choose the right directors on the board. So